Hello everyone, this is Fantasy-esque, and welcome back to Season 2 of Royal Clan in ClanGen, the Warrior Cats clan generator game. When we left off in the previous episode, we had quite a few things happen. Mainly, we had a new royal apprentice age up from a kitten and be assigned her mentor, so the queen's daughter, Fierce Paw, is now under the tutelage of this cat over here by the medicine cat den. River Whistle? Yes, River Whistle. I'm almost confident that's his name. So, yeah, that happened, but also Flailstorm died peacefully in his sleep. He was an elder, very far along in his years, so I think that was a long time coming, but that does mean that we now have a very grief-stricken royal physician, and also, I think, an injured cat who's walking around somewhere with some minor injury. So we're gonna go into that and see what happens in this particular episode, but compared to last time, it is definitely a lot calmer. But okay, we are in the final turn of Leaffall at Moon 104. Jumping to the leader's den, we can see all of our wonderful allies in this time of peace, this age of peace under Queen Rainstar. Onto events. Royal Clan does not have enough healthy royal physicians. Cats will be sick/hurt for longer and have a higher chance of dying. Oh, Inkfeather is no longer sore. Okay, so she was the one walking around with some problems, but she is apparently fine right now. I think she fell. She had a bad fall in the last episode, and she had a ton of bruises and stuff, but it seems as though she's doing fine. But yeah, we do have some cats still mourning, so our royal physician, Icicle Speck, and Flare Freckle are still mourning. Cinnamon Tail has a sprain, I'm pretty sure. Other than that, the cats seem to be doing fine. Let's jump into the medicine cat den. Yep, we do have the sprain over there, nothing minor. Icicle Speck was given time as treatment for grief-stricken. Flare Freckle was given time as treatment for grief-stricken. Inkfeather's no longer sore. And Cinnamon Tail was given Dandelion as treatment for sprain. Okay, let's check out relationships. Icicle Speck and Fierce Paw work together to lead a scary bug out of the camp, so it's kind of nice that even though he is feeling down and not really up to doing like his job right now, he's still, participating in certain things, helping the new apprentice kind of lead scary bugs out of the camp. I think that's very admirable of him. Ghostfeather doesn't seem very concerned when Icicle Speck complains about something aching. It does make sense because Icicle Speck is responsible. So yeah, that does make a whole lot of sense for him. Shining Stripe feels a little safer when Quill Runner joins him in the clearing. Shining Stripe, Bear Pelt, and Inkfeather took a sunbath and had a little small talk. Shining Stripe overhears River Whistle humming a comforting tune. Shining Stripe can't stop gushing over Queen Rainstar. Look at that. In the last episode as well, he hit max love with Rainstar. Now we're just waiting for her to catch up so they can be declared soulmates. But yeah, guys, Shining Stripe, he's kind of, back on the straight path. He wandered off very briefly, right? Because Rainstar was occupied with other cats. But very quickly he snapped back into place. And, he's always been kind of true to Rainstar if you think about it. Flare Freckle saw Queen Rainstar show off a skill she never knew she had. And we know that Flare Freckle holds a bit of a candle to Rainstar. It started off with her kind of just being nice to her older brother's mate, and then she realized that they clicked a little bit too well. Flare Freckle notices how rude Ghostfeather is being to a clanmate. Ghostfeather, who is also one of our more faithful cats, Bearpelt has been pining over him for ages, and Ghostfeather has been holding a candle for Flare Freckle for ages, but she's never really noticed him. She's noticed his brother, though. Bearpelt is jealous that River Whistle was praised by the leader. Oh. Bearpelt is letting Foxclaw share his troubles with him, hoping he'll feel better afterwards. Yeah, Foxclaw, the brother of Ghostfeather, is the one who Flare Freckle has kind of noticed. Inkfeather hears Bearpelt laugh at a clanmate's joke, even though it was lame. Inkfeather learns that Freezefur told a clanmate one of her secrets. Shining Stripe points out to Quill Runner that a spider is in his nest before he sits in it. Quill Runner and Cinnamon Tail keep making each other yawn. Queen Rainstar doesn't entertain a rumor that is being spread about Foxclaw. Foxclaw wishes that a clanmate liked him as much as they like Fierce Paw. Garlic Glow gives advice to Ghost Feather. It's not good advice, but Ghost Feather appreciates the effort. Ghost Feather thinks Fierce Paw has been acting strangely. Freeze Fur and Hemlock had to fix something around camp and argued about how to fix it. It ended up being fixed by some other cat in the end. Freeze Fur sees Fierce Paw stand up for a clanmate despite the pushback from her peers. Fierce Paw tells Garlic Glow that a pelt is shiny today. Garlic Glow couldn't imagine how boring things would be without a friend like Cinnamon Tail. Queen Rainstar points out a constellation to Ghost Feather, and just a reminder to myself, but Cinnamon Tail and River Whistle are the sons of Garlic Glow and Icicle Speck, right? Yes, okay. So this is some mother-son bonding time. And from what I remember, this is interesting because Cinnamon Tail, even though he is the kind of more vibrant sibling, the sibling who's out there, and you know, more opinionated, more involved, he's actually not the favorite child for either parent. His quiet, reserved, kind of nervous younger brother, River Whistle, is the one who both parents dote on. So, interesting, but I'm glad that at least Garlic Glow is friends with Cinnamon Tail. Queen Rainstar points out a constellation to Ghost Feather. Fierce Paw keeps avoiding eye contact with her mother, Queen Rainstar. Okay. Queen Rainstar goes out of her way to catch Shining Stripe's favorite prey. Look at that. You know what? Rainstar was pointing out constellations to Ghost Feather. I wonder if Fierce Paw maybe misinterpreted that and thought that her mother was maybe flirting with Ghost Feather, and so she didn't want to look her mother in the eye, because maybe Fierce Paw feels as though since her father is so loyal to her mother should be the same. And maybe Rainstar kind of noticed that, and then she went out of her way to catch Shining Stripe's favorite prey as a way to reassure her daughter that, you know, your parents are fine, like everything's fine between us. Cinnamon Tail saw Freeze for the other day and did get a chance to meow hello. Cinnamon Tail, Foxclaw, and Icicle Speck took a sunbath and had a little small talk. Cinnamon Tail wonders why Freeze Fur keeps spending time with him when others usually don't like his attitude, but he suddenly won't object. Ink Feather bumped into River Whistle and didn't even apologize. You know, with Freeze Fur, I was just talking in the last episode about how alone he is. I think it would be nice for him to have a partner and have some sort of support because he really is alone. I mean, he has only ever had a crush on one cat, and that was one-sided. It was on Frostfade. I think Cool Runner has a one-sided, you know, like, crush, notice something with Freeze Fur, but it's nothing Freeze Fur's ever noticed. And then, you know, Frostfade passed on, and they were starting to become friends, so that's kind of unfortunate, but he hasn't really shown an inclination towards anyone ever since then. It would be nice if he and maybe Cinnamon Tail, who are not committed to, like, anyone else, might, you know, like, if they get together, I think that'd be nice. Hemlock points out a constellation to Flare Freckle. Hemlock overhears Cool Runner dispelling a false rumor about a clanmate, and Fierce Paw doesn't think the object that Flare Freckle asked her to find is real. And that is all we have for events, so let's wrap up over here and move on to the cat list. Okay, let's continue with the cat list. So a quick reminder on our loyalties over here. Now, I noted some very, very fascinating things in terms of relationships. The first one was with Queen Rainstar, who has, guys, finally reached max love with Shining Stripe. So it seems as though she was kind of on a chase with Hemlock. But once she got Hemlock as her right hand, I think some of the excitement wore off. And so Rainstar has gone back, and then maybe like having Fierce Paw, her daughter, react a certain way to the misunderstanding with like Rainstar and I think it was Ghost Feather, caused Rainstar to kind of realign herself with Shining Stripe, her mate, and now she has managed to rekindle those lost feelings and they're at max love, which means they're now soulmates. So I've definitely gone ahead and made that note in their in their histories, in their notes over here. Yeah, we recorded that she's soulmates with Shining Stripe and he is soulmates with her because both of them have max love for each other, which is absolutely amazing. The next cat I noticed something with was Flare Freckle. Now this took me by surprise, and it gutted me a little bit, but guys, Flare Freckle hates Ghost Feather. She hates Ghost Feather. This breaks my heart because Ghost Feather has very loyally had feelings for her for as long as he's known what feelings are romantically, right? And there was a brief moment in time when it felt as though something might be possible between Flare Freckle and Ghost Feather, or was that between Flare Freckle and Quill Run? I don't think so. No, what am I talking about? That's his son. Ew. What am I talking about? Sorry, I'm mistaking him for Inkfeather. Back up. So anyways, I thought that maybe Flare Freckle and Ghost Feather would kind of make, a nice couple with each other. And I was really hoping that one day Flare Freckle would turn around and actually notice Ghost Feather, because he has been quite faithfully only interested in her and no one else, despite the fact that Bear Pelt has been very persistently pursuing Ghost Feather. Right? Ghost Feather hasn't been shaken at all, unlike his brother Foxclaw. So, yeah, that's where I was going mentally, but apparently not the case, because Flare Freckle, for some reason, I think, you know what, it must be misunderstandings on top of misunderstandings. For whatever reason, she's never really been drawn to Ghost Feather. I mean, she's been drawn to his brother Foxclaw, but she's never really had a moment with Ghost Feather or noticed Ghost Feather, I think. And Ghost Feather might not be the best cat at, expressing himself, so unfortunately his point and his feelings have never gotten across to Flare Freckle. And then she, I think, recently overheard him talking badly about another cat. Ghost Feather, I tell you, he must have been saying something about how annoying Bear Pelt is, or how annoyed he is with being pursued by Bear Pelt, and because Flare Freckle is really close to her brother Bear Pelt, she took that the wrong way, and now she hates Ghost Feather because, family united. Flare Freckle's family, as Warnell pointed out a couple episodes back, they're tight. They're very close to each other and very protective of one another, so I could totally see how sometimes the way they feel about other cats is probably in relation to some connection that cat has with their family. So yeah, in this situation, it makes sense that Flare Freckle would see things from her brother's point of view before she sees things from Ghost Feather's point of view. But my heart absolutely breaks for him, because what's gonna happen now? He's not interested in any other cat. Ghost Feather. Okay, so the next thing I noticed was with Ghost Feather. Yeah, Ghost Feather also surprised me, because he hates Fiercepaw. What? From where and why? Sorry, not this. Not with Fiercepaw. We want to jump back to. Hold on a second. We want to jump back to Ghost Feather and try and figure out where did this come from? To be honest, I mean, he thinks that Fiercepaw has been acting strangely, and you know what? Because Ghost Feather is so adventurous, it seems as though it's a few things stacked up. But recently, Fierce-Kit being upset over trivial things, and then acting strangely. Maybe Fiercepaw was a bit shaken up. Actually, it could be the fact that Fiercepaw, in the last episode, in her very first patrol, went out on a patrol with her mentor River Whistle, and then with Shining Stripe and Bear Pelt, and I'm fairly sure that the older cats kind of talked her mentor into sending her into a badger set, and she came out of that alive, but I think she was quite shaken by that because she is an insecure cat, and River Whistle is nervous, right? And I think Ghost Feather, who's adventurous, probably saw that as a, what kind of cat are you? What kind of apprentice are you? You got a very rare experience, and instead of learning something from it, you're freaking out and maybe fearing your next adventure. Maybe Ghost Feather can't understand from that point of view because he loves the unexpected, but Fiercepaw seems as though she is a little bit at this point afraid of whether or not she might be able to perform in an unexpected situation. So I think it's that more than anything. It's like it's a whole bunch of little things that's kind of, you know, added up. Now the next cat that I noticed something with was Freeze Fur. And I think now, after that rough patch, we're going back into like happier news. Okay, so Freeze Fur, hold on. Freeze Fur, guys, has a new romance with Cinnamon Tail. That makes me so happy because he's friends with Cinnamon Tail. And I'm actually really glad that Freeze Fur, after Frostfade, has been able to move on and, you know, make friends, but also, I mean, he has a ton of friends. Look at the amount of friends he has. He's friends with Fierce Paw, Garlic Glow, Shining Stripe, Queen Rainstar, Bear Pelt, Cinnamon Tail, Foxclaw. Yeah, he's got a ton of friends in camp, but I'm actually really happy that he's drawn to Cinnamon Tail, and I'm pretty sure that in this episode, Cinnamon Tail was the one wondering why Freeze Fur like spend so much time with him when other cats kind of find him difficult to get along with, which is kind of surprising given his confident. But I feel like in recent moons, cats have been more drawn to his quiet, calm brother, who maybe feels a bit more soothing, as opposed to the firecracker Cinnamon Tail. I think he's like a bit too intense for some of the cats, and they either don't like approaching that or they get a little bit maybe put off by it. But Freeze Fur, not really. And I think because Freeze Fur himself is, you know, strict, he sees himself as a difficult cat to get along with, he doesn't really get close to others easily, and maybe he's a little bit socially awkward, I imagine. I feel like for him, being around someone like Cinnamon Tail is just like it's an experience because he's pulled into Cinnamon Tail's kind of magnetism and, you know, his orbit in a sense, and he kind of loves that feeling. So yeah, Freeze Fur now has a thing with Cinnamon Tail, which has me really excited because these two aren't committed to anyone, so, you know, I support that. And for the final cat I noticed something with was Cinnamon Tail, who also has a new romance with Freeze Fur. So it is mutual, guys. It's mutual, which makes me so happy because with Freeze Fur and Frostfade, it was one-sided. Freeze Fur had a one-sided interest, like one-sided crush on Frostfade, but this time around, it's mutual. And Cinnamon Tail is also friends with Freeze Fur, so hopefully things are gonna go very well for the two of them. Fingers crossed. That would make me so happy if Freeze Fur had a bit of connection with someone, and by extension, kind of, you know, had family. I'd love that. But okay, that's all we had in terms of relationships. I think it was some really fun stuff. And then let's go over to Inkfeather, have our matchmaking session with Hemlock and Bearpelt. So here we go. Okay, so they were in a very romantic mood today. So trust, platonic like, respect, comfort, and romantic interest has increased and dislike has decreased. At this rate, guys, these guys might be in line to become soulmates. Like, that would be interesting. They keep going at this rate, they're going to be in line to become soulmates. Now, the other cat that actually has a 10 is Quill Runner. Quill Runner already has max love for Icicle Speck, but Icicle Speck hasn't really, apart from when, you know, he kind of accepted Quill Runner, accepted Quill Runner's proposition to become mates. Aside from that, he hasn't really had much of an increase with Quill Runner, so I feel like it's not that likely that they would become soulmates. But with Hemlock and Bearpelt, it's very, very possible. So it's good to see between the two of them. Okay, let's see what everyone's doing for the day. Queen Rainstar had a nice chat with Alona outside clan territory. Hemlock wants to train. Icicle Speck is worried Ghostfeather is overworking himself. Inkfeather leaps into a pile of fallen leaves. Shining Stripe wonders how Garlic Glow is doing. Flare-Freckle pretends the mouse she's chasing is a bird and she's a hawk. Bearpelt cleans the clearing of fallen leaves. Quill Runner is picking the birds from his pelt. Ghostfeather is looking forward to the next gathering. Foxclaw is thanking Inkfeather for what she does do for the clan, and that's his mother, which is very nice of him. Freeze Fur is not looking forward to the sparse hunting in Leaf Bear. River Whistle is panicking over something minor. Maybe he's panicking over the decisions he's going to have to make about, you know, what strategy he's going to take for patrols this time around for his apprentice. Cinnamon Tail had a nice chat with a cat from another clan at the border, so one of the independent cat groups in the forest. Fearspaw finds that she is really good at making her mentor laugh. Oh, look at that. That makes me happy. Because it feels like Fearspaw is getting comfortable with River Whistle, and she might be able to, like, you know, reassure River Whistle and, in a way, find a sense of self. Garlic Glow is drinking water from a nearby stream, and that is all we have for the cats. So let's wrap up over here and continue with patrols. Okay, we're continuing with patrols. We currently have 98.9 prey and we need 40. And our Rule Physician is definitely not in a good spot to be going out, so he's going to be resting up, which is just fine. Let's see what we're going to have for patrols. So first up, we're going to have a patrol of 6 and then a patrol of 4. Okay. And, River Whistle has decided to change tactics, and she wants Fearspaw to maybe be a little bit more independent and outside of her supervision to observe things from some of the other cats. Ooh, okay, we'll see how that goes. So we have in the bigger group Shining Stripe, Queen Rainstar, Bear Pelt, Cool Runner, River Whistle, and Freezefur. So they're gonna head out first. The patrol discusses the rumors that they've been hearing that a badger is denning in a certain part of Royal Clan territory. Oh my goodness, I feel like this would make River Whistle so nervous because this is exactly what they went through in the last patrol he was on. Proceed. Carefully, that's so funny. Carefully considering their options, River Whistle, we were just talking about him, decides to set up a stakeout with a patrol. When the badger pokes its head above the ground at dusk, they're prepared, and in unison everyone turns for home. The cats fade into the underbrush before the predator has even blinked the sleep out of its eyes. And this time around, look at him. I feel like definitely last time he was talked into sending his apprentice in by Shining Stripe and Bear Pelt, who are like older, more experienced, and you know, not as, like, nervous and antsy. So they were like, you know, she'll be fine. They survived. She'll survive. So yeah, they kind of they influenced River Whistle, but River Whistle was very, very, I think, uncomfortable with that. And then his apprentice was freaked out afterwards. And then this time around, he decided, no, I'm going to take charge. We are going to have a stakeout. Nobody's putting their neck in the line, like on the line for this thing. Ah, okay. I'm glad you took a bit of charge. And then we have with Fearspaw, Foxclaw, Ghostfeather, who hates her, and then Hemlock. Okay, I don't know how this is going to go, especially with what we discussed regarding Ghostfeather and, you know, how he feels about Fearspaw's insecurity. I don't know how this is going to go, but let's have a look. The patrol stumbles across a large dog wandering in the middle of the clan's territory. Proceed. They decide that no cat is going to be surprised by this predator again. The patrol shadows the dog, sending a message to warn camp. With enough cats to keep watch, rest, track, and send messages forward and back from camp, Royal Clan is kept safe from the wandering dog. Look at that! I am actually very impressed with this small group, because I wasn't entirely sure if having Fearspaw here was the best thing for her with this dog, her not having a lot of experience, and then of course someone like Ghostfeather who hates her. I felt like maybe that would be kind of the most fertile environment for something disastrous to happen. But apparently, these cats can put aside their hatreds and opinions of each other and actually work together really well to make sure that the clan as a whole is safe. And I think this would have been a very good lesson for Fearspaw to learn as well. And actually, even though they faced danger this time, because she was around cats, probably knew what they were doing, and they had like a safe plan, not like sending her into the freaking Badger's debt. What am I saying? Badger's debt? The Badger's set. My goodness. Badger's set, right? I think I was saying den, but then I realized it was a set, and then it became a debt. Anyways, they sent her in there, and that was a freaky way to handle things, but this was a lot more organized, so I think she would have felt safe knowing that, okay, these are the procedures we have to follow in this kind of situation. So good on her, and good on the other cats. I'm almost sorry that I was questioning, your professionalism when going out on patrols. But okay guys, with that said and done, I am gonna leave off here. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you all enjoyed, and I will see you all next time. Bye bye.